Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the HeadSpace for Entrepreneurs podcast. I am your host, Rivers Corbett. And let me tell you, man, I am excited. Well, I'm excited for all kinds of reasons, but this one in particular is because I get to hang out with my buddy, Michael Haynes, Canadian gone down under to build his life, build his career, but never, ever left his heart, because I know his heart's in Canada. And Michael, welcome to the HeadSpace for Entrepreneurs podcast, my friend.
Thank you for having me, Rivers. It's great to be here.
Yeah, well, it's good. We've had a little technical issues. So let me give you a little bit of a background on Michael. Michael's an entrepreneur. Michael has got a very specific interest, talent, focus on working in the B2B market. And what I love about that is that he has become really internationally known, because I know you speak and work around the world, Michael. But you've also focused on, like I say, that niche, that area of the B2B customer and marketing strategies that work around that. I want to talk a little bit about that to go forward, but what I'm interested in talking to you today is about a recent pivot that you recently made that's focused in on working with CEOs and some of the challenges that they're facing, specifically related to the pandemic that continues on around the globe. So let's start with that whole environment of SMEs, business to business customer and marketing strategies. That if I said to you, Michael, I need you to chat for 5 to 7 minutes in this space, go.
Okay, sure. Thanks, Rivers. So to give everyone some context, so my focus is working with the CEOs and managing directors of small, medium enterprises, SMEs as we call them, very much focusing on the services businesses. So your professional services, IT firms, financial services firms, educational organizations. So very much on the services side of SMEs. And I'm all about helping them with their acquisition, retention of business customers, business clients, and driving their business growth.
Right.
With regards to what's happening right now with the pandemic, the SME space, despite a lot of the volatility and uncertainty, given where we're at right now, here at this time now, end of August, many SME CEOs, leaders are now really trying to figure out how to move and take their businesses forward, to restart their businesses, to start generating revenues, and really to be able to prepare for and thrive in this next normal, this new normal. So that's really where a lot of the SME leaders are at right now, really trying to figure out how to navigate that. Some of the challenges that they're facing, given where we're at right now, is one, from a business to business perspective, their prospective clients and customers, so those business customers, those business buyers, the ones who are making the decisions, their buying behaviors have somewhat changed now. Business buyers now are somewhat hesitant to be making spend to some degree. They are prepared to spend on their key priorities and key initiatives. But what business buyers are really looking for now is that decision-making confidence. So they're looking for confidence in and of themselves to know what they need to do to take their organizations moving forward. So as a SME service provider, what they're looking for from you now is really how you can provide that information, insights, guidance to help them navigate. Business buyers are taking a lot longer now. They're doing a lot more of their own research, trying to build their own understandings of what they're trying to do. And yeah, they're really seeking that kind of confidence to know what to do. There's a lot of change going on right now with adoption of everyone going digital. Business buyers using a lot of digital channels as part of their decision making as well. So these are some of the key things that SME leaders are trying to figure out and navigate. So how to operate in this online context, understanding where the opportunities are and how best to proceed moving forward, because you can't just sit around and wait for this pandemic to end and things to go back to normal.
That's very interesting. Very, very interesting. So it's from a sales perspective, well, and even a bit from a marketing perspective, it's just not how good I am and what value I can bring to you. You then have to bridge that value proposition to this is how it can apply in a I'm going to say, everybody keeps talking about a post-COVID. COVID's here. So a COVID scenario. So there's the education of value proposition, but this is the why it will work in a COVID environment. Is that fair to say?
Yes, that's fair to say, Rivers. It's why it will work, but very much more now. A couple of things. One, marketing and sales have to work together because SME leaders want to know, how is this going to work? I have objectives that, let's say, for example, let's say if you're in the IT industry where there's still lots of growth opportunities, I want to expand and take advantage of new opportunities. Tell me, Mr. Marketing Technology Firm, how are you going to help me achieve my objectives of taking advantage of those opportunities? So that whole providing that service and support, execution planning, and showing how you're going to work with your respective SME clients, that is a key component now. So that's where providing the information, case studies, etc., to demonstrate to those SME CEOs, those leaders, how you work, how you're going to assist them to meet their objectives becomes very important. Hence why marketing and sales have to work together now, because it's about educating, selling, demonstrating how you're going to get them on their journey and work with them. That's, I guess, the new selling now.
I love it. Yeah, I love hanging out with you for so many reasons. One of them is the fact that I learn every time I hang out with you. So I love the fact that you've talked about that tandem piece, because most times they do not work in traditional methodologies together. They really is regarded in silos. So I love the fact that you brought that to the table. Talk about your business and how you're exemplifying, how you're living what you're talking about right now as it relates to, and let's tie into the new program that you've launched. I want to promote that. I think there's great value with that for our audience, but so talk about that value proposition first, then tie that into, this is how I am doing my marketing and sales activities to bring this value to my clients.
Sure, Rivers. So I've been, over the past few months, been doing a lot of listening, which is, really trying to get an understanding around the markets and customers that I serve. And again, for me now, the focus is working with those SME CEOs and managing directors. So I've been talking to clients, prospective clients here in Australia. I've been attending a lot of forums, both in the United States, here in Asia Pacific, to really understand what SME CEOs, leaders are really struggling with. And so they're having challenges around some of that strategy and action planning onto where to focus and what to do. But there's a real need in terms of gaining some assistance in executing what they need to do, whether it you develop new product and service offerings, so productizing your service offerings, implementing some more sophisticated, better marketing strategies to meet their customer needs. So as a result, I have now really done, I guess, a pivot. I'm not a fan of that word, as you know, but so I have now changed my focus now to very much working with both the CEOs, MDs, and the heads of their leadership team, so their heads of marketing and sales, and working with them to both identify what are some of the opportunity areas they need to focus on. So really understanding which markets, which industries, which customers, figuring out what they need, and then identifying what are some of those key initiatives that they may need to be doing, which may be around their product and service offerings. It may be looking at different kinds of growth opportunities, joint ventures, strategic alliances, some new marketing strategies to engage more of their new target customers, how to turn their current customers into advocates. So as a result, I've developed a new program, which I call Refocus, Reignite, and Rise. And it's a 12-month program, and it's a combination of what I call a 3-month intensive of strategy and action planning. So working with the SME CEO and his head of marketing and sales, and potentially head of customer service, because those 3 components are quite critical and have to work together. So I work with them over 3 months to identify key priorities, what are the key opportunities to focus on, and then there's 9 months of implementation, execution support. So once we've identified the key markets and customers and key priorities. And we've developed the action plan, but then it's working with them over those 9 months to help them execute. So having regular monthly meeting sessions like here on Zoom. We will have quarterly review and reset sessions. So at the end of every quarter, we will review, okay, the strategy plan we've put in place, where are things at the end of that quarter, given what's going on in their industry, the overall business environment, identifying what needs to be changed. So we'll have monthly meetings and those quarterly reviews and resets so that there's real traction in terms of executing that defined strategy and action plan. And we're also going to have quarterly mastermind meetings where the CEOs and their leadership team will get to meet some of their peers and some of the subject matter experts from my network from around the world who are specialists in sales, marketing, and some of the other elements of business innovation as well, so they can interact with their peers, get some learnings direct from some subject matter specialists. So that's now the focus of my service delivery, which is strategy and action planning, but very much focused on the execution, because it's really where the rubber hits the road in terms of working on those different initiatives and being able to adjust as you're going along, given your industry and environmental changes, so that you're moving forward, but in a very responsive manner.
Is there a persona that you're finding the CEO of COVID times must have to really embrace this opportunity? Not this, yes, it's a challenge, but this opportunity. You're running across a common persona, that is really a must for getting through all this, in your opinion?
Good question, Rivers. And yes, I have noticed that, in the SME space, there is a significant number of SME CEO leaders that are very client-centric and very growth-oriented. And so they very much recognize that now is the time to undertake those pivots, those innovations within their business, and identify the right opportunities to move forward. So there's a significant of those that are very much, I would describe them as client-centric, growth-oriented, very action-oriented, and somewhat open to taking risks, because we're operating in a very volatile, uncertain environment, but they recognize that we have to move forward and that there are opportunities out there and we need to adapt to this new environment that we're in. So the ones that I see that are really, there's a significant amount that I'm seeing where they are looking at, they're very client-centric, growth-oriented, very much innovative oriented, as in they're going to try new things for their business. I would say that's just the persona that I'm seeing out there. There's also a significant number of SME CEOs that are even looking to engage in things such as acquisition of other businesses as a means to take advantage of new opportunities where they can, for example, if you're a marketing agency, if I buy out the IT firm, I can become the marketing tech firm, which will enable me to provide holistic services. And so there's a significant number that I'm seeing, particularly here in Australia, and I've noticed in the US as well, where acquisition of businesses as a means for growth and continuity is something that a number of SME CEOs are looking to pursue.
Okay, so let's kind of take an extension of that, because it's one of my favorite strategies is joint ventures. Can you talk about that as it relates to a strategy for SMEs in this time?
Absolutely. So Rivers, I think the starting point before you start going down some of these more advanced approaches towards growth is to really understand and get an in-depth understanding of your target clients and customers' full holistic set of needs. What are they trying to achieve? By having an understanding of where your clients are looking to go and what they need, then that will help you identify where does it make sense when you're looking at joint venture, strategic alliances, and or potentially acquisition opportunities.
Right.
So that's really the starting point. And so once you know what are some of those broader needs, those broader objectives of what those companies are ultimately trying to achieve, then you can say, who should I be partnering with as a means to delivering those needs? Alternatively, Rivers, also looking at opportunities where you can partner to market to your identified customer base. So for example, for me as an SME myself, as a professional services provider, I am collaborating as part of some of my own activities with other leadership firms and niche management consulting firms who are also targeting SME CEOs. So you can use joint ventures as a means to market to your target customer base, as well as to deliver to the needs of your target customer base, depending on what opportunities, who you're focusing on in terms of your target customers and what your target customer needs are. That's some ways of how you can use joint venture opportunities.
Yeah, I think it's such an underutilized strategy of SMEs, and I'm glad you took us down that rabbit hole and really expressed, okay, it's just a matter of identifying where these partners are that can complement what it is you're doing, and vice versa, you can complement them. So I think that's very cool. What's the commonality that's happening around the world right now? And I know it's such a broad question, but I'm just wondering if you see a common theme for SMEs going through COVID right now that seems to work beyond what you've already talked about. You talked about, focus on customer and the bridging between sales and marketing, but I'm wondering if you're seeing this is what you shouldn't do. Okay, let's focus on you, because you did focus on what you should do, but there's probably a lot of them that are doing stuff that you're saying, that's not gonna work.
Well, good question, Rivers. Look, the SME, SME is a very broad customer group, customer segment. There are still a large number around the world that are not doing, they kind of have the deer in the headlights, I believe it's the phrase, and they're kind of sitting there waiting for, well, what should I do next? And they're kind of waiting, like this too shall pass, and they're kind of sitting and waiting. So there is a large number of folks that are doing that. I am noticing, though, it appears to me that the SMEs on, I would say, the larger end, so those that have your 20 plus staff or greater, those ones, I'm seeing a significant amount in that, I guess, larger end of SME as opposed to your micro businesses. They're some of the ones that are really looking to undertake some of these things I'm talking about in terms of joint ventures, strategic partnerships, acquisitions. So they're taking a very proactive approach. So that's kind of what I'm seeing. There are some, particularly where those that are kind of standing still are those who can't figure out, because everyone's saying go online. Digitize is your solution. If you're in a professional services type business, you're in education, you're any kind of professional service, that is relatively easy to do. But for other businesses, it's not quite as obvious. And those are the ones that are often getting stuck where, that phrase digitize and, all things will come. That's where many are kind of a little bit stuck. Well, what does that mean for me? Yeah,
interesting. Michael, this was a shortened version of the HeadSpace for Entrepreneurs podcast because of technical difficulties. But I know it is. You know what I love about it? It kind of gets right to the point, but brings the value. And I think you really condensed it very nicely. We could stretch out our conversations for days as we have in the past. So a couple of things. One is, how do people get in touch with you and learn more about your CEO program? Because I think it's a critical value that people need to consider.
Thanks, Rivers. Sure. So for folks that are interested in finding out about my program, go to my website, listeninnovategrow.com. That is the hub for all things around B2B. I also have a free playbook that I'm giving away right now, Deciphering the Business Buyer, which you can also get on the website. And that gives you your playbook in terms of the key questions to ask your prospective clients and customers, how to prepare for those meetings, and what are some of the watch outs in terms of what your prospective clients will be expecting from you, even from that initial meeting. What are some of the things in their mind that you need to be mindful of? So everything at listeninnovategrow.com.
Yeah. Well, that's your Academy Award-winning book, that's for sure. Any last words while we say goodbye for this time?
I guess to all my fellow SME peeps, best of luck. Talk to your customers, have those conversations, and do lots of listening to find where your prospective clients and customers are at currently and where they want to go. So jump on Zoom, FaceTime. If you can do it face-to-face, have those conversations with even a small group of your clients and customers first, and that will give you the direction as to where you really should be heading moving forward.
Love it, man. Love it. Well, you're a rock star in my mind, and as you should be in many others. Michael, thank you so much. I know you're on LinkedIn also. Great overview of what you're doing there. So people should hang out. And if you want to learn more about what I'm doing in my world, just go to riverscorbett.ca. You can see all the magic that's coming to my world. Is I too try to figure out what to do during this time period, but hanging out with people like my guest today afford me that luxury of learning and then implementing without having to figure it out all by myself. So keep on happening, my friend. All the best to you down under, and we'll look forward to chatting with you real soon.
Thank you.